The massive view screens in the United Earth Defense Command showed a sight that humanity had waited centuries to see. Alien ships, dozens of them, appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system. They were beautiful, sleek vessels that shimmered like pearls in the dark space. But beauty didn't stop Admiral Mark Wilson from putting Earth's defense fleet on high alert. All stations, battle positions, he ordered, his gray eyes fixed on the approaching fleet. But do not, I repeat, do not engage unless fired upon. The tension in the command center could be cut with a knife. Years of sci-fi movies had taught humanity to be cautious about first contact. However, what happened next surprised everyone. The alien fleet sent a message. It wasn't a threat or a demand for surrender. Instead, it was an invitation. Greetings, people of Earth. The message read in perfect English. We are representatives of the Galactic Council. Your species has achieved faster than light travel capabilities, and thus qualifies for membership evaluation. We come in peace. That was 3 weeks ago. Now, Ambassador John Baker stood in front of an enormous door that led to the Galactic Council's main chamber. The space station they'd brought him to was bigger than anything humans had ever built, a structure so vast it could house a small city. Baker adjusted his tie, a simple blue one he'd chosen to match his black suit. Next to him stood his military advisor, Captain Robert Stone, who wore his formal United Earth Defense uniform with all its medals and ribbons. They made an odd pair, Baker with his diplomatic smile and graying hair, Stone with his stern expression and perfect posture. Remember, Baker whispered to Stone, we're here to learn and observe. Let's not show all our cards just yet. The massive doors slid open with a soft hiss, revealing a chamber that looked like something out of a dream. Beings from 100 different species sat in rising tiers around a central platform. Some looked almost human, others were so alien that Baker's mind struggled to make sense of their forms. At the highest tier sat High Counselor Bright Eye, whose name perfectly matched his appearance. His skin was a pale blue, and his eyes literally glowed like stars. Next to him sat representatives from what Baker learned were the elder races, species that had achieved space flight thousands of years before humans had invented the wheel. Welcome, Earthers, Bright Eye's voice boomed through the chamber. We have reviewed your initial application for membership. While your technological achievements are adequate, we have some concerns about your military capabilities. Baker felt Captain Stone stiffen beside him. Concerns? Baker asked politely. A holographic display appeared in the center of the chamber, showing images of Earth's military equipment. It focused on their weapons, rifles, pistols, artillery, and tanks. Laughter erupted from several council members. Even Bright Eye's lips curled into what looked like a smirk. You still use chemical propellants? Asked one council member, their translator barely keeping up with their clicking speech. Projectiles pushed by explosions. How quaint, another added. They haven't even developed basic plasma weaponry. Baker maintained his diplomatic smile, but he could feel Stone's growing irritation. The captain had served in the Mars border conflict and knew exactly how effective their primitive weapons could be. We find our current arsenal quite effective, Baker said carefully. Effective? Bright Eye leaned forward. Your weapons technology is centuries behind the galactic standard. Every advanced civilization uses energy weapons, plasma rifles, particle beams, quantum disruptors. Yet you cling to throwing little pieces of metal very fast. More laughter followed. Baker noticed that not everyone was laughing, though. A few council members watched Earth's representatives with curious, calculating eyes. Perhaps, Baker suggested, a demonstration could be arranged to show the practical applications of our military technology. Bright Eye's glowing eyes flickered with amusement. Yes, that would be entertaining. We shall arrange a weapons demonstration in 3 days. All new species must showcase their military capabilities anyway. As Baker and Stone left the chamber, the captain finally spoke. They're underestimating us. Baker nodded, a small smile playing on his lips. Yes, they are. And maybe that's not such a bad thing. Behind them, the council chamber continued to buzz with amused conversations about Earth's primitive weapons. None of them realized that sometimes the simplest solutions were the most effective. They would learn soon enough. The demonstration arena on the Galactic Council space station was enormous. Its dark metal walls stretched up hundreds of feet, and force fields shimmered between observation platforms where council members gathered to watch. Captain Robert Stone stood at the human section of the preparation area, carefully checking his weapons while other species did the same at their stations. "Remember," Ambassador Baker said quietly, "we show them the basics. Nothing special yet." Stone nodded, picking up a standard-issue rifle. Around them, alien representatives were preparing their weapons for display. The air crackled with energy as plasma rifles powered up and quantum disruptors hummed to life. High Counselor Bright Eye's voice boomed through the arena. "Let the weapons assessment begin. The Green Star Empire will demonstrate first." A tall, elegant alien stepped forward. Its weapon looked like a piece of art, all flowing lines and glowing crystals. When it fired, a beam of pure green energy shot out, cutting a target dummy into perfect halves. The council members applauded politely. 3 more species demonstrated their weapons. Each show was more impressive than the last. One species had guns that could bend gravity. Another showed off weapons that could freeze time in small areas. The third displayed rifles that fired miniature singularities. Finally, it was Earth's turn. "And now," Bright Eye announced, his voice carrying a hint of amusement, "let us observe the traditional weapons of Earth." Stone stepped forward, his boots echoing in the sudden silence. He carried 3 weapons: a pistol, a rifle, and a shotgun. Basic weapons, just as planned. "This is a standard military pistol," Stone explained, his voice clear and professional. He raised the weapon, aimed at a target, and fired 3 times. The shots rang out sharp and loud, making several council members jump. The bullets hit their marks perfectly, leaving clean holes in the target. Some council members laughed. "How primitive," one called out. "It uses an explosion to push metal." Stone ignored them and moved on to the rifle. Again, perfect shots, but the council seemed unimpressed. Even when he demonstrated the shotgun's spread pattern, they merely shook their heads. "Is this all?" Bright Eye asked, clearly disappointed. "Surely you have something more advanced." Stone shared a look with Baker, who gave a slight nod. "We have one more demonstration," Stone said. He pressed a button on his communicator. The arena's main doors opened. 4 soldiers walked in, carrying what looked like ordinary metal cases. The council members leaned forward, probably expecting some grand reveal of energy weapons. Instead, the soldiers opened the cases and began assembling what appeared to be even more primitive weapons: a bolt-action sniper rifle, a heavy machine gun, and 2 standard combat rifles. "Really?" Bright Eye scoffed. "More projectile weapons?" "Yes," Stone said simply. "But this time, we'll demonstrate their practical applications." He nodded to his team. In perfect synchronization, they took positions around the arena. The council had set up various challenges: shields, armor, and moving targets. None of them were designed with physical projectiles in mind. "Begin," Stone ordered. What followed was a symphony of gunfire. The sniper took out targets that were supposedly protected by energy shields. The bullets passed right through the barriers designed to stop energy weapons. The machine gun tore through armor that was meant to deflect plasma bolts. The rifles demonstrated precision and rate of fire that surprised many observers. Most importantly, they showed versatility. While energy weapons were devastating, they had obvious energy signatures and often required powered-up time. The human weapons were instant, silent when needed, and nearly impossible to detect before firing. "As you can see," Baker spoke up from the observation platform, "our weapons may seem simple, but they are far from primitive. Each has its purpose, its advantages." The council chamber had grown quiet. No one was laughing anymore. Several military representatives from other species were taking notes, their expressions thoughtful. "Interesting," Bright Eye said finally, his glowing eyes fixed on the bullet holes in targets that should have been impenetrable. "Perhaps we were too quick to judge, though surely against modern armor and shields." Baker smiled diplomatically. "We would be happy to demonstrate more advanced capabilities, if the Council wishes." "More?" another Council member asked. "Oh yes," Baker replied, his smile never wavering. "What you've seen today is just our basic infantry equipment. We haven't even shown you our heavy weapons yet." The silence that followed was quite different from the mocking laughter of before. Sometimes, Stone thought, the best way to make a point was to underplay your hand, right until the moment of truth. The emergency alarms on the Galactic Council station screamed to life 3 hours after the weapons demonstration. Captain Robert Stone was sharing a meal with Ambassador Baker in the Earth delegation's quarters when red lights began flashing through the corridors. "Warning! Warning! Multiple unauthorized vessels detected. Station shields breached in sectors 7 through 12. Baker's fork clattered to his plate. "Pirates." "Worse," Stone said, checking his tactical pad. "Organized pirates. 6 ships, military formation. They're using old Council warships." He activated his communication device. "This is Captain Stone to Earth Security Team. Battle stations." Throughout the massive station, chaos erupted. Council security forces rushed to defensive positions, their energy weapons powering up with high-pitched whines. The station's automated defense systems launched into action, energy turrets emerging from hidden panels. High Councilor Bright Eye's voice boomed through the station's communication system. "All Council members proceed to the central chamber safety bunker. Security forces will handle this incursion." Stone watched the tactical display as security forces engaged the first wave of pirates. The attackers wore advanced battle suits with personal shield generators. Energy weapons fire bounced harmlessly off their shields, which were specifically tuned to defend against the Council's standard weapons. "They'd done their homework," Stone muttered, watching as Council security fell back under the pirate assault. "Those shields are calibrated perfectly." Baker straightened his tie, somehow maintaining his diplomatic composure. "Should we offer assistance?" Before Stone could answer, a massive explosion rocked the station. Emergency barriers slammed down, dividing the station into sections. Stone and Baker found themselves trapped with about 30 Council members in a large corridor leading to the central chamber. "The pirates have breached the main hull," someone shouted. "They're inside the station." Through the transparent barrier at one end of the corridor, they could see 5 pirates advancing. Their armor was sleek and black, covered in shield generators that gave off a subtle blue glow. The pirates' weapons were modified Council designs, firing bursts of plasma that melted anything they touched. Council security fired back, but their energy weapons dissipated harmlessly against the pirates' shields. The pirates laughed, the sound carrying through the corridor's communication systems. "Your weapons are useless," the pirate leader announced. "We've studied your technology for years. Our shields are tuned to the exact frequency range of all Council weapon systems." High Councilor Bright Eye, who was among those trapped in the corridor, stepped forward. "What do you want?" "The Council's access codes," the pirate leader replied, "along with a few high-ranking hostages to ensure our safe departure. Cooperate, and we won't have to get messy." Stone had heard enough. He opened a small panel on his tactical vest and pulled out a compact pistol. Several Council members looked at him with mixture of pity and confusion. "Captain," one alien delegate said, "your primitive weapon will be even less effective than our advanced ones." Stone checked his ammunition and clicked off the safety. "Want to bet?" The pirate leader noticed Stone's movement and laughed again. Is that a projectile weapon? Are you serious?" "Deadly," Stone replied. In one smooth motion, he raised the pistol and fired 3 times. The sound of gunshots echoed through the corridor. The pirate's shield flickered with blue light, trying to stop an attack they weren't designed to handle. But against simple physics, small pieces of metal moving at high velocity. They were useless. 3 pirates dropped to the ground. The remaining pirates stared in shock at their fallen comrades. Their shields were still active, humming with energy, but they had failed to stop simple bullets. "Impossible," the pirate leader shouted. Stone's next shot took him in the shoulder, spinning him around. The last pirate turned to run, but another shot caught him in the leg. The corridor was silent except for the humming of failed shield generators. Council members stared open-mouthed at the scene before them. High Counselor Bright Eye looked from the fallen pirates to Stone's simple pistol with new understanding in his glowing eyes. "Sometimes," Baker said into the silence, "the simplest solution is the best one." Stone ejected his magazine and loaded a fresh one. "We should move to the central chamber," he said calmly. "There will be more pirates, and I'm guessing they all use the same shield technology." As they hurried toward safety, Stone could hear council members whispering among themselves. No one was laughing at Earth's primitive weapons now. The central chamber of the Galactic Council Station had become a fortress. Captain Robert Stone stood at a makeshift command post, surrounded by screens showing security feeds from around the station. More pirates were boarding from multiple points, and Council security forces were struggling to hold them back. "Captain," a voice called out. Stone turned to see his weapons specialist, Sergeant Mike Taylor, running toward him with a large metal case. "The special equipment you requested, sir." Stone nodded. "Good. Time to show them what we've been holding back." Ambassador Baker, who had been conferring with High Counselor Bright Eye, walked over. "Are you sure about this, Captain? Once we reveal our advanced weapons, we can't take it back." "With respect, Mr. Ambassador," Stone replied, "we're past keeping secrets." He opened the case, revealing weapons that looked nothing like the simple guns they demonstrated earlier. High Counselor Bright Eye moved closer, his glowing eyes reflecting off the metallic surfaces of the new weapons. "These are different from your previous armaments." "These," Stone said, lifting out a sleek rifle, "are what we call hybrid weapons, a combination of our projectile technology with some more advanced principles." He distributed the weapons to his team. Each one looked like a perfect blend of traditional human guncraft and advanced technology. The barrels were lined with electromagnetic accelerators. The ammunition was a mix of traditional bullets and specialized rounds designed for different purposes. "Watch the main corridor," Stone ordered, pointing to a security feed showing a group of pirates advancing. "We'll give you a demonstration of real human military technology." On the screen, the pirates were confidently moving forward, their shields glowing as they deflected energy weapons fire from the Council's security forces. They hadn't expected what came next. Stone's team had positioned themselves at strategic points. At his signal, they opened fire. The new weapons made a distinctive sound, part traditional gunshot, part electronic whine. The projectiles they fired were accelerated not just by chemical propellants, but by electromagnetic fields as well. The pirates' shields, designed to stop energy weapons, might as well have been paper. The hybrid rounds tore through them with devastating effect. Some rounds carried electromagnetic pulse charges that shorted out shield generators. Others were traditional bullets accelerated to incredible speeds by the hybrid technology. "Impossible," one of the Council military advisors exclaimed. "Those weapons, they're using principles of both kinetic and energy-based systems." Stone reloaded his rifle with practiced ease. Humanity learned long ago not to abandon proven technology just because something new comes along. Instead, we improve it, combine it with new ideas. On another screen, Sergeant Taylor demonstrated another innovation. His weapon fired smart bullets, projectiles that could change direction slightly in flight, guided by tiny electromagnetic fields. The pirates found their usual dodge and weave tactics useless against shots that could track them. "These are only our mid-level weapons," Baker explained to the astonished council members. "We kept developing our projectile weapons alongside energy research. While everyone else abandoned physical ammunition, we perfected it." High Counselor Bright Eye watched as another group of pirates fell to the human weapons, Why didn't you show us these during the demonstration? Would you have believed us? Baker asked. Or would you have dismissed them as tricks? Sometimes, people need to see things in action to understand their value. A massive explosion rocked the station. On the screens, they could see pirates bringing in heavy weapons of their own. They have walking tanks, someone shouted. Energy-shielded assault vehicles. Stone smiled slightly and opened another weapons case. This one contained what looked like a massive rifle with multiple barrels and a heavy power pack. Ever heard of a railgun? He asked the stunned council members. Time to show you why humanity never stopped making bigger guns. As he hefted the weapon, Baker turned to the council members. You laughed at our projectile weapons, called them primitive, but we never stopped improving them, never stopped innovating. What you're seeing now is centuries of human weapons development, the perfect blend of old and new. The station shook again as the pirate tanks drew closer. But this time, the council members weren't worried. Instead, they watched with growing interest as Stone's team prepared to demonstrate yet another level of human military technology. Sometimes, the old ways combined with new ideas created something revolutionary. The pirate tank filled the entire corridor, its energy shields glowing bright blue against the station's emergency lighting. It looked unstoppable, until Captain Stone's railgun spoke. The sound was like thunder in the enclosed space. A tungsten rod, accelerated to incredible speeds by electromagnetic forces, struck the tank's shield. For a split second, the shield flared brilliantly, then failed completely. The projectile continued through the tank's armor, leaving a clean hole straight through. Direct hit, Stone reported calmly, as the massive vehicle ground to a halt. Sergeant Taylor, your team is clear to move in. The council members watching through the security feeds couldn't believe their eyes. The primitive humans were systematically taking back the station, corridor by corridor, room by room. Fascinating, muttered High Counselor Bright Eye, watching the tactical displays. Their entire combat doctrine is different from anything we've seen. Ambassador Baker nodded. We learned long ago that technology alone doesn't win battles. It's how you use it. On the screens, they could see the human tactics in action. While Council security forces had been trained to engage at long range with energy weapons, the humans moved in close, using the station's architecture to their advantage. Their weapons were versatile. They could shoot through walls when needed or fire specialized rounds that wouldn't risk the station's hull. Team 2, breach and clear, Stone ordered through his comm unit. The security feeds showed a human fire team approaching a door held by pirates. Instead of trying to cut through with energy weapons, they used simple explosive charges, just enough force to blow the hinges. The pirates behind the door had their shields oriented forward, expecting energy weapon fire. They weren't prepared for fragments of the door itself becoming projectiles, nor for the barrage of hybrid ammunition that followed. Notice their ammunition choices, Stone explained to the fascinated Council military advisors. Standard rounds for unshielded targets, EMP hybrid rounds for shield generators, armor piercing for heavy resistance. We adapt to each situation. In another sector, Sergeant Taylor's team demonstrated urban warfare techniques that had been perfected over centuries of human conflict. They used simple mirrors to look around corners, threw old-fashioned smoke grenades to confuse pirate sensors, and maintained constant communication. They fight like one organism, an alien military expert observed, each human knowing their role perfectly. Years of training, Baker explained. We never lost the human element of warfare while developing our technology. The pirates were learning this lesson the hard way. Their advanced shields, perfect against energy weapons, provided little protection against physical objects moving at high velocity. Their sensor systems, designed to detect energy signatures, struggled to track simple bullets and grenades. Stone's railgun spoke again, this time taking out a pirate barricade. All teams, push forward. We have them on the run. The humans moved with practiced precision. When their primary weapons needed to cool down or reload, they switched smoothly to backup weapons, including their primitive pistols and rifles that had been mocked earlier. "Look there," Bright Eye pointed at one screen. A human soldier had run out of ammunition for his hybrid weapon. Without hesitation, he switched to a simple pistol, taking down 2 pirates with perfect headshots. They don't rely on any single technology. Every weapon, no matter how basic, has its purpose. The station shook as the last pirate ship tried to escape. Stone calmly aimed his railgun at the vessel visible through a viewport. One shot was all it took. The projectile punched through the ship's shields and engines, leaving it dead in space. "Central hub secured," Taylor reported. All hostile forces either neutralized or surrendered. The entire battle had taken less than 2 hours. The council members looked at the humans with new respect as damage reports started coming in. Despite the intense fighting, there had been minimal damage to the station's critical systems, a testament to the humans' precise and controlled use of force. "Perhaps," High Counselor Bright Eye said slowly, "we need to reconsider our definition of advanced technology." Baker smiled diplomatically. "Technology is just a tool, Counselor. It's how you use it that matters. Humanity learned that lesson long ago." Stone began collecting his weapons, already preparing for a debrief. The Council had wanted a demonstration of human military capabilities. They had certainly gotten one. Sometimes the best lessons were learned in the heat of battle. The emergency council session began 6 hours after the last pirate was captured. The Grand Chamber, usually arranged in formal tiers, had been converted into a more practical briefing room. Damage repair crews worked in the background, while Captain Stone stood before the assembled council members, explaining human military doctrine. "The mistake," Stone said, pointing to a holographic display of various weapons, "was assuming that newer automatically means better." The display showed the evolution of human weapons, from simple gunpowder weapons to their modern hybrid designs. High Counselor Bright Eye, his glowing eyes dimmer than usual from exhaustion, leaned forward with genuine interest. "But surely," one council member asked, "pure energy weapons are more advanced, more civilized." Ambassador Baker stepped forward. "More advanced. Perhaps. More civilized. That depends on your definition." He gestured to the station around them. "Notice the minimal structural damage from our weapons. Physical projectiles, properly controlled, can be more precise than energy beams that might cut through multiple decks." Stone nodded, switching the display to show footage from the battle. "Watch our teams in action. When we needed to breach a hull, we used energy-based tools. When we needed to stop an enemy without damaging the station, we used bullets. Every tool has its purpose." The council members watched in silence as the replay showed human soldiers switching effortlessly between different weapons and tactics. What had seemed primitive hours ago now looked sophisticated and carefully planned. "Your soldiers," another council member observed, "they carry at least 3 different weapons each. Is this not inefficient?" "Redundancy is not inefficiency," Stone replied. "A soldier with only one weapon is a soldier with one solution. We prefer to have options." The display shifted to show the captured pirate equipment. Their shields, once thought impenetrable, had proved useless against properly applied kinetic weapons. Their advanced sensor systems had been confused by simple smoke grenades. Their tactical doctrine, based entirely on energy weapons, had failed against an enemy using multiple approaches. "Humanity never stopped developing any form of warfare," Baker explained. "While other species abandoned physical projectiles for energy weapons, we kept both. While others focused on bigger energy beams, we explored all possibilities." High Counselor Bright Eye stood up. The chamber fell silent as he walked to the weapon display. He picked up one of the simple pistols that had been mocked during the demonstration. "This weapon," he said slowly, "stopped the first pirates we encountered. No power source to fail. No energy signature to detect. No shield could stop it." He set it down carefully. "We called it primitive. We were wrong." Stone brought up new diagrams showing the internal workings of human hybrid weapons. "We took the best of both worlds. The reliability of physical projectiles enhanced by advanced technology. Energy weapons are part of our arsenal, but not our only option. The council members studied the diagrams with new interest. Questions came rapidly now, but they were different from before. Not mocking, but curious. How did humans develop their hybrid technology? How did they train their soldiers to use multiple weapon types? How had they maintained such diverse development paths? The pirates, one military advisor noted, they based their entire strategy on defending against energy weapons. They never considered physical projectiles a threat. A common mistake, Baker said diplomatically. One that, perhaps, others might learn from. High Counselor Bright Eye nodded slowly. Indeed, the Council's military doctrine may need revision. We have become too dependent on a single path of technological development. Stone switched off the holographic display. Humanity learned long ago that the path forward isn't always a straight line. Sometimes you have to explore all options, keep what works, and combine different approaches. The chamber grew quiet as the council members absorbed this lesson. Outside, repair crews continued their work, some now using human tools alongside their energy-based equipment. Change was already beginning. Captain Stone, Bright Eye said formally, the council would be very interested in learning more about human military doctrine. Would Earth be willing to share its expertise? Baker smiled. We would be honored, Counselor. Perhaps we could start with the basics. He picked up one of the simple rifles that had been laughed at just days ago. Sometimes the old ways still have much to teach us. The council chamber, which had once rung with laughter at human weapons, now hummed with serious discussion about the future of galactic military doctrine. Sometimes the best revelations came from the most unexpected sources. 3 months after the pirate attack, the Galactic Council station looked very different. In the newly established Joint Military Training Center, Captain Robert Stone watched as alien soldiers practiced with human-designed weapons. The sound of both energy weapons and gunfire echoed through the training ranges. Trigger discipline. Stone called out to a group of alien trainees. Remember, these weapons don't have power safeties like energy guns. Your finger is the safety. Ambassador Baker stood on the observation deck with High Counselor Bright Eye, watching the training sessions below. The council chamber that had once rung with laughter at human weapons now housed the largest military technology exchange program in galactic history. Remarkable progress, Bright Eye commented, his glowing eyes tracking the trainee who had just performed a perfect weapon transition, from energy rifle to projectile sidearm. In just 3 months, our forces have begun to understand your doctrine. Baker nodded. Humans have a saying, necessity is the mother of invention. The pirate attack showed everyone the necessity of diverse combat capabilities. Below them, Sergeant Taylor was demonstrating the new hybrid weapons that combined human and alien technology. The latest models featured adjustable settings. They could fire traditional bullets, energy bolts, or a combination of both. Council engineers had worked alongside human weapons designers, creating something entirely new. Look there, Bright Eye pointed to another training area. A group of council security officers were practicing with simple mechanical weapons, no power cells, no energy signatures. 6 months ago, we would have considered this a step backward. Now we understand. Sometimes the oldest solutions are the most reliable. The station's security forces had been completely reorganized. Every officer now carried at least 3 types of weapons: energy-based, projectile, and hybrid. Their training included both high-tech combat scenarios and basic marksmanship. No one laughed at primitive weapons anymore. Stone walked up to the observation deck, having finished his training session. The new combined arms units are ready for their final evaluation, he reported. I think you'll be impressed with the results. They moved to a larger training area where a demonstration was about to begin. The mixed unit of human and alien soldiers faced a complex combat scenario. As they watched, the unit smoothly handled multiple challenges: electronic warfare, shield-protected enemies, and close-quarter combat. Notice their weapon choices: Stone pointed out. Energy weapons for range and precision, projectiles for stealth, and shield penetration, hybrids for heavy targets. They're using everything available to them, choosing the right tool for each situation. Baker smiled as he watched a council soldier effortlessly switch from an energy rifle to a simple pistol when his primary weapon's power cell ran dry. They've learned that backup plans need backup plans. Indeed, Bright Eye agreed. The Council has approved a complete overhaul of our military doctrine. No more relying on single technologies, no matter how advanced they seem. The station itself had been modified. Alongside the energy-based defense systems, new railgun emplacements provided physical protection. Armor plating had been reinforced to stop both energy and kinetic weapons. Even the security checkpoints now used both high-tech scanners and simple metal detectors. The pirates did us a favor, Baker mused. They showed us the danger of becoming too dependent on any single type of technology. Stone nodded, though I doubt they'd see it that way from their prison cells. A loud cheer erupted from the training area as the mixed unit completed their evaluation with perfect scores. Human and alien soldiers celebrated together, their different weapons systems complementing each other perfectly. We've received requests from 17 species for human military advisors, Bright Eye said, and 30 species want to establish weapons development programs with Earth. And to think, Baker replied with a slight smile, just a few months ago, they were laughing at our primitive guns. Stone watched as the next group of trainees entered the range. Sometimes the best path forward is to remember where you came from. Humanity never forgot that. The station hummed with activity. Energy weapons powered up alongside the sharp crack of gunfire. Hybrid weapons whined as they launched their combination rounds, and soldiers of all species learned from each other. The galaxy was changing, growing stronger through diversity rather than relying on a single path of advancement. The laughter had stopped, replaced by respect, understanding, and true progress. Sometimes the best teacher was the one you least expected, especially when they came armed with primitive weapons and centuries of combat experience to share.